Hello, I'm Michael McDonough and I'm here at Shark Infested Custard, a relatively new game studio in Colchester, and I'm here with Teaboy Games to discuss their latest project, Fallen. So can you guys briefly introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit what the player, about what the player has to do in Fallen?
My name's Fraser.
I'm Scott.
I'm Aidan.
For the last sort of 7 or 8 months we've been working on Fallen, which is a reaction game where the player has to tap the sides of the screen to spin a wheel and then match the colours as they fall down. So quite rudimentary, quite basic, but we like to think quite addictive.
Yes.
Really kind of fun, minimalist art style, and it's all about, it's an endless game, so it's reaching a high score and just using things like power-ups and other sort of things we put inside the game just to keep it fun.
And where are you currently in development?
Well, we just submitted to App Store review last week. Monday.
Monday,
Yeah, feels an age ago. So now the game is being reviewed by Apple. That can take up to 2 weeks. It's kind of no one really knows. So we're waiting to get the okay from Apple. When we've got that accepted status, then we can start working on the press a little bit more. So we're looking at about, because you want a 2-week window before you start contacting the press. Well, before the release to contact the press. So we're about a month away from release.
Great.
Touch wood. If we get accepted.
So how did you come up with the name Fallen?
It's falling balls.
That's
basically
Stuff
yeah.
falls. Yeah. It was really simple as that, wasn't it? I mean, the idea of the game came from like the early learning centre style children's games where you put the blocks in a hole, so like a circle through a circle, a triangle through a triangle. That was the main idea. So originally it was shapes that fell down, like triangles and squares. And then the thing is yourself, wasn't it? It just said, what if we just made it colours?
Yeah.
Sort of get rid of the shapes and make it just colours.
Yeah,
So then that sort of, I mean, for a long time the game was in landscape, and someone sort of said, "Why isn't this in portrait?" And we were like, "Oh yeah, why isn't it in portrait?"
So
Because there's more stuff to fall, you know, like more room.
You got any tips on becoming a pro at Fallen for people just going to start out trying to get this from school?
Being the person who's made the game, I feel like obviously kind of know how it works behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So it'd be a bit like.
Well, there's 2 ways you can play the game. Aren't there?
No, yeah, there are 2 major kind of ways.
You've got so in the game you can earn currency to upgrade the power-ups, and you do that by spinning between catches. So the problem with that though is that you're more likely to miss catching the shape because the wheel is turning. So you'll get lower scores, but the currency you earn will probably be higher. So if you want a load of like currency to do loads of upgrades to buy loads of the extra stuff, then you just rotate loads, which is really, really fun and really addictive. The other way is to just be way more cautious, and then you'll hit much higher scores, but the amount of coins you earn will be less. So it depends what you want to do. Do you want to do more upgrades, or would you rather hit higher scores? So they're the kind of the 2 main.
That's what kind of makes it addictive as well.
Yeah.
Just like switching between 2 different gameplay styles, I guess.
Yeah.
Adds to the replayability as well.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps it interesting because you can, there are different ways of playing it. Maybe you'll play a certain way to get an upgrade, and then as soon as you've got that upgrade, you go, cool, right, I'm going to play the other way now. Cool. And then.
So in a gamer's library, what other games would like stand alongside Fallen, like games you could like compare it to and things like that?
I think as a general one, pinball,
Mm.
because you've got the balls falling down. We've also got like pins in the game that it hits and it bounces off.
Cool.
It's definitely that kind of arcade, casual
Yes, very
game.
arcadey, yeah.
So games like, is it Super Hexagon? I
Yeah.
guess it's a similar concept.
Yeah, endless high school.
Things like Breakout, so where you spin the wheel around and things are bouncing through 'em. So that's kind of that spherical nature, kind of casual. But it kind of does link through to some other successful casual games of late. The way that we've monetized it as such, it alludes to games like Crossy Road and things like that. So although the gameplay is very different, maybe the vibe or the feeling you get from the game, the way it's laid out, and the way things, the user experience as you sort of go through menus and stuff is similar to like Monument Valley and Crossy Road. I mean, visually closer to Monument Valley than it is to Crossy Road anyway.
And how have you? You said you've just released the game to Apple to be under review. But how have you been promoting Fallen? Because I noticed you at Norwich Gaming Festival.
Yeah.
You've been anywhere else touring?
Well, I mean, conferences and events and expos like Norwich Game Festival have been really good for us. Because we're complete noobs at this. It alongside telling sort of the customer or the average Joe about our game, we also want to tell other game developers about ourselves, and that way we can network with other people within the industry. And for us, that's almost been just as important as maybe telling the users about the game, because by becoming better connected, I mean, we're very aware that this is our first game, and we're probably not going to make any money from it. But if we can become better connected with other people within the industry, then maybe when we will look for investment for the next game, we're more notable. People know who we are. And so we have a better standing within the industry. So,
good, yeah.
Like last week we went to Develop Conference down in Brighton, which is like the who's who of the games industry. So we were surrounded by just ridiculous people. But, oh yeah, look, there's so and so from Kotaku in the corner over there. We're like, oh my god, they'd never review our game. It's the wrong type of game, but we still went up to her and talked to her and said, oh hi, this is who we are. This is our game.
Oh, that's good.
Whatever. So doing things like that are really cool. Trying to put our game in front of the right sort of people who have way more power than we do, because we've got a couple of hundred followers on Twitter, maybe a couple of hundred people on Facebook. We can tweet and send out Facebooks to our heart's content, but we're maybe not going to hit a load of people. But if we can become connected with people who are more powerful than us in that term, then there's more chance of some sort of breakthrough later down the line.
Cool. So what has been like your favourite aspect of developing Fallen?
Let's not all speak at once. I mean, for me, it's. I mean, these guys do most of the programming and such, and it's when we concept ideas is really cool. There's a whiteboard in the corner, and we just do drawings on sketches and stuff, and I do some concept art, and then it's kind of doing the concept and then giving it to these guys, and then seeing that. Oh, okay, we actually that idea is now playable and testing it. I remember the first time we got the game as an app on my phone. It was just like mind blowing. Like, this is so cool.
I stressed so much that day. I couldn't get it to work, and then it just worked. I don't know why.
That's really great seeing it all come.
Yeah, I think that's that kind of coming together, and it's the kind of you get. It's really rewarding when you've been, because I know you had so many problems with the export process getting it onto the iPhone. Because
when you have something physical to see that you've done, it's just brilliant feeling.
Yeah, it feels really pro.
It's like your baby, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Raising it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the concept stuff is amazing, and it's really exciting to kind of come up with all these ideas. But then inevitably you have to whittle them down and kind of reduce it and make it way more achievable. But then when you actually have that as a physical item, that's really cool.
Cool. And alternatively, what's your least favourite aspect of development?
Bugs. Fading at the moment, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I think there are some. It's just like bug fixing, and when you're showing the game to people, people's advice they give you is always different. Like everyone has a different idea, different opinion, and it's kind of learning to sort of take all that advice and make it relevant for yourself. So it probably bugs are the most annoying things. Like we had some fading issues between menus and stuff, and it was just like it was driving you guys insane.
We rewrote half the game basically to put it in better systems, so hopefully there's less bugs.
Right.
So things when we're doing this fading stuff.
Of course, when you take these to demo the game, of course people can find bugs as well. You have there's this problem.
Yeah, when we go to like events, we come back with like a list of like we write things down when you see, because it's really useful to just give someone the game and don't tell them how to play it and watch them get it wrong. But it's really good for us, because then we're like, okay, right, now we know we need to make that way more obvious. There was this really good GIF that we saw the other day.
Yeah, I was just thinking of
it was like someone holding up a cup of water and they were just like licking the side of the glass, and it's like when someone doesn't watch the tutorial, or like when someone doesn't listen to how to play the game, you're just like, it's so obvious, why can't you know how to do it? But then you realise, okay, they don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to find it. It's our fault for not making it obvious how to play it.
So Fraser, your background was like in music. You like graduated got a music degree.
Hmm.
So has that influenced the development of Fallen in any way?
I mean, I joined Games Hub, which is at the incubator, which we formed in as a composer, hoping to maybe make music for some people.
Mm.
Whether that influenced the game, maybe not. I mean, the type of music I like to make, what type of art I like, is minimalism and sort of the reduction of things to the core elements. I find that just a really satisfying style. So I guess that mindset that I had maybe would influence the ideas I gave to the team. I mean, it's definitely influenced the art style, obviously, because the art style is quite minimal. And then I obviously wrote the music as well. So,
Cool.
and because I did the music, I also did the sound effects, so they work quite well together. All the sound effects are in the same key as the song, which is kind of, so to a certain extent, yeah. But you know, these guys studied games design, so they probably had more influence on the core mechanics.
And what compelled you guys into doing games design?
I've always wanted to do it, I guess. It's the only answer I can give. Yeah.
And how has Shark Investor Custard and Stephen Upper, who founded it, how did that help? How did it help in your development? Fallen?
Well, we wouldn't all be here, I suppose,
Yeah.
without him. So
Yeah.
it's like brought us together and kind of like he kept giving us targets as well. Like that almost,
That we
I don't
missed.
know if we ever hit any of them really, but
It's
But,
I mean, it's like a perfect storm. So Games Hub, where we formed the incubator, he would get all his friends to come in and give talks, and his friends were people from like Square Enix and Microsoft and Delilah and you know all these huge players in the industry, and then we're like, cool, yeah, we want to make a game, and then these people would come in, look at the game, and say, right, you need to change this, this, and this, or if you thought about this, this, and this, like who's playing the game, where are they playing it? But we hadn't thought about that. And it was their advice that really shapes the game into what it is now. It would be like, I mean, it would be completely different if it wasn't for their advice. And it's so much better for their advice. And it's through these people that we've subsequently, you know, been introduced to other people, so, you know, potential investors or publishers and all these different things. Like that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Shark Investor Custard.
Cool. So have you guys got a release date in sight for Fallen?
I mean, as I said earlier, about a month from now, so middle to late August. But we really want to hit August. But it does come down to whether we pass the review process with Apple, because it can fail for annoyingly small reasons. But you know, suck it and see. But ideally August.
That must be a pretty tense time.
I was so excited to get it there, and every single day it's just like dreading like what the results are going to be.
You log into iTunes Connect and there's just a little tagline that says "waiting for review." And it just says that.
Nerve-wracking.
I got a little notification on my phone when you submit.
Oh, really?
Go through test flight, and it's like, oh, it's happened. And then we just put it on Twitter like, now the waiting begins.
Yeah. So to finish off with, have you got any future games you'd like to work on? Any ideas? Any plans to create something after Fallen? Or are you still just focused on Fallen?
I think there's still a little bit more development to do on Fallen with regards to, especially with free-to-play games, the second and third updates are quite important. So the content that's going to follow, we need with Aiden, you're both working on that at the moment, and sort of preparing that content so that when we release, we can follow it up and sort of ride that wave a little bit. We're also working on the other platforms that we can release the game on. So iOS first, but inevitably Androids, Windows Phone definitely, and Amazon as well.
Cool.
So because of the software we're using, it almost seems easy. That's probably said now to go via Amazon. It's like if we can put it out there, well, there's no harm in doing it, So we'll be looking to do that. But yeah, we have got another idea that we're sort of working on slowly in the background. We can't say anything at the moment, but there is an idea there, and so there definitely will be another game. Yeah.
Cool, that's good. Good to hear. I'll keep my eye out for Fallen.
Yeah,
I'll
cheers.
wait for it and anticipate it quite eagerly.
Thank you very much.